Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Tell Me Everything. I'm your host, Danielle Spinelli. It is feeling like fall officially in Georgia, and it is. I actually looked at the weather, and it's 76 degrees, and I'm like in a long sleeve shirt, and it's freezing to me. Not really, but I'm missing summer already. I'm a summer type of gal. But anyways, fall is here, yay! And that means conference season is up. If you are not going to the Broker Carrier Summit, this will be next week after this episode airs. If you're not going to Broker Carrier Summit the week after today, I guess, is whenever everything starts, you need to book a flight, get down there to Orlando, and come hang out with us at the Broker Carrier Summit. I will have this podcast live there on Tuesday and Wednesday. I have 2 different 1-hour spots. So come watch us live, have a chance to hop on and say hi to all the different podcasters out there. And yeah, I'm just super excited. It's like one of my favorite conferences, and then all the great people there. We're having the California Highway Patrol Cargo Theft Task Force. James will be there with us, so he's going to hop on stage. He's going to go over basically the whole spiel of what all they're doing out there, how to prevent cargo theft. I'm so excited to have him on live. I'll be on stage with him, just kind of being his wingman and letting him do all the talking. But going to be a great event. If you are not going, go to the Broker Carrier Summit. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. If you miss this one, go to the one in the spring. I don't know exactly where it's at yet, but need to go there. It's a great way to get to know carriers, get to know some information out there, and then really just network and get to know people. We talk about conferences a little bit here with Jason on this podcast about how, depending on the level of your company and your brokerage that you are at, how you can get to the next step, how starting off, kind of what to be looking for, what you need, and then kind of growing from there. So super happy to have Jason on with Lone Cypress Logistics. Been a longtime customer of mine for a long time, but I really just love the way his mentality is on having his niche market. Obviously, they're expanding and getting bigger, but that's how they started, was with their niche on what they're good at, what they know, and taking that information and knowledge and being able to take their customers to the next level. So I just think it's very educational in that sense, where if you are starting a new brokerage, if you are in a new brokerage, or you're ready to take it to the next level, how is your mindset need to be? How do you do that, basically, right? So this isn't fully a roadmap, but this is a great way of kind of hearing how his mentality is, how he's able to take his company from 2 employees to like 11 within the past 4 years. So made a big change. On top of that, revenue-wise and growth-wise, mentality shift, he's just killing it. So glad to have Jason on here, and let's jump in it.
Tell me everything.
Tell me everything.
Well, thanks for joining me. If you will start off with like introducing yourself, telling a little bit about your background, how awesome you are, all that jazz.
My name is Jason McArthur. I'm one of the owners here at Lone Cypress Logistics. We're a pretty small broker in the kind of the Salinas, California area, kind of so near like the big produce hub here in California. I come from a background of I've worked for really large 3PL companies. I've worked for growers, shippers, other brokers, and now doing this thing here with Lone Cypress Logistics, and it's we're sneaking up on 4 years old here. Doing pretty well.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were just talking before the show just about freight this week. I think this will come out in like 2 or 3 weeks from now, so it'll be interesting to see how it actually changes from here. But we were talking about how the whole, CDL is getting shut down for not being non-domicile, and I'm sure English-proficiency, kind of ICE cracking down, and how that's kind of affecting the market. Especially because you guys mainly run produce, right?
Mostly. Yeah, we do produce and some other like prepared foods, and then some like packaging supplies, but that ends up going to the produce and food anyway.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if it's actually even going to impact, if that means like workers are going to go to a different area of the world instead of driving and all that stuff. I guess talk a little bit how it's impacting you right now, because we were just talking about that.
Yeah, like right now it's I use a lot of regular carriers, and so do most of the brokers that work here for Lone Cypress, and so we get to have like pretty productive conversations with most of our regular carriers, and they they've seen it coming for a while. Like a lot of their drivers are just sitting out, and I don't know if it's been labeled as anything yet, but I'm pretty sure a version of a strike started today as well. So you got a lot of drivers scared to get on the road, and others that are striking supposedly. I think they are. And then that's all going to add up. And you know how it goes. It's easy to book freight in the early in the week, and it gets a little tougher as the week goes on, especially out of California. So who knows what this weekend's going to look like? I think it's going to be crazy, a little ripple effect for at least for the short term.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how quickly this escalated. And obviously I'm not really running freight, so I don't really know all the things, but just from what I see online, just how many, CDLs are getting shut down and like people actually taking actions and FMCSA cracking down on states. And I mean, I think this is a long time coming and this should have happened a long time ago, but it's interesting how quickly they are doing things without understanding how this can affect the market. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's been, you see stuff on the news. Like, I guess unless you're out there and seeing it happen in person, it's hard to really, I don't know, picture how efficient and just quick they've been at doing this especially the last couple of weeks. And from what I understand, it really kicked off in Florida, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's sort of just moved its way west. And this week we're hearing there's ICE checkpoints or detention spots, pickup spots, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma. I'm hearing about it left and right. Arkansas, New Mexico, and I've even heard about some in Fresno, California already. So it's going crazy really fast.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens in the next couple weeks. And like I think a lot of the things that we run into is where something will be impacted quickly by the government. And then they kind of, oh, this is impacting too much. We need to pull back. And then they'll pull back on things. ELD, I think, is the only thing that they really push. But I was even thinking the English proficiency stuff. They're like, well, they'll be strict on it for a bit, but there's only so much that they can do. They can't sit there and pull over every single driver. But it seems like that's what they're kind of doing. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
It seems like they're getting a lot. I've received some videos of a driver like parked at major truck stops like along the way, say in Oklahoma, and they have their camera out and they'll video truck after truck being towed with trailer on it still. So driver's been detained and they're taking the trucks away with the trailers on them. Who knows? I'm sure to some holding station, but it's going to be really disruptive.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine my freight being one of those things and what you have to deal with. Having a carrier that I've had it where like they've been, put out of service and then DOT detains everything. And what a nightmare that is. So to have it on this scale, I'm sure paperwork, because getting it out of even the DOT hold for paperwork wise is a living nightmare. So I can only imagine. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk more about kind of where how you guys got started. Like I wanted to bring you on here because I think you guys have an interesting story as to you guys really scaled quickly on your company, but also in a way that not too quickly where you kind of lost, the reins on things. You were able to kind of keep everything intact. You guys have, I think, a good mindset on how to operate businesses. So I kind of just want to pick your brain on how you're doing all the things you're doing, how to do what has worked, what have you guys failed at, what have you had to shift at. So just kind of tell me everything.
Yeah, cool. Gosh, I mean the partners and I and the first broker we brought on, we all knew each other one way or another, whether it's been just friends in the business or have actually worked together, same office. We come from, like, again, a lot of produce background, food background, shipping, logistics. We've done everything from flowers to meat to produce to deli food. I mean, you name it. So we started really thinking about how we were going to, I don't know, take all that knowledge and, it's funny. We say there's 4 of us with a total of over 50 years of experience together, and we put our heads together really well. We have some pretty loyal customers and friends in the business that have stayed with us for a long time and supported us when we opened up this brokerage here. And again, very loyal, running constant opportunities by us. And we're fortunate to have those relationships. This business is not easy, and it's really not easy when you don't have people that want to work with you. If you're constantly chasing, that's exhausting and it's tough, and you don't always get the best freight. And So we've been able to secure good business pretty early on and kind of use those as our anchors to build and grow from there. Something that was really important to us from the beginning was not falling behind and getting in debt. We wanted to run pretty lean at first. We wanted to pay carriers as quickly as we could, build up a good reputation. So we had asked our customers what can I do to help set up quicker payment terms as we get going? And most of them participated and they wanted to support us with that. So there was a little bit of prove ourselves in the beginning, prove that we can service the existing business and then kind of ask for help later. So kind of from the get-go, we had really, really good cash flow. I mean, you know how important that is. Working with regular carriers, they get to know us. They know what to expect from us. They kind of become eager to get our business and to do a little more with us because we do pay quickly. We do treat them well. We communicate well. We don't leave carriers hanging, waiting for information and answers. If we don't have exactly what the answer they need, we at least tell them we're still working on it. And we do that. We take relationships on all sides of it very seriously. So to answer your question best about like how we really got going, it's just been service oriented as possible from all sides. Take care of the customer, take care of the carriers, pay quickly, keep communication going, good updates going, and rinse and repeat,
Yeah, no, that's important. So the relationships that you had with the shippers, was that prior? Like, were you guys agents before had these guys in your pocket, or was this kind of all new business prior to coming in?
A little bit of both. Like some of it was, I had already worked with one of the customers at a previous brokerage, and they were really loyal to me. And I also, my biggest produce customer now, I used to work for them several years back. So there's a lot of good, strong relationships there. And they have me helping run some business that I used to work on there before too. So there's some just knowledge that I know how to problem solve and help them maybe more than some other brokers might be able to with the understanding of the customer demands,
Right.
Yeah.
And I think having like a niche market, it really helps you grow, especially in the beginning. I think it's good to diversify as you get larger, but starting off in the beginning, having that niche, this is what I know, this is what I'm good at, this is everything that my history on this, and you're able to talk on it better. Have you noticed the same thing as far as going to get new business, that your talk tracks are more elevated because you've had so much history?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. We're taking that approach right now, even more than ever before. When you talk about the niche, like specialized sort of service that we offer, sure, we'll take on lots of different opportunities and look at doing business in a number of different avenues and lanes. We've recently hired a marketing guy here who's trying to help boost our social media presence, take care of our website a little better. We're basically putting ourselves out there more as not just being a broker that'll take anything. We specialize in produce. We specialize in cold chain. We understand, again, from that experience that we have here and where we've worked before, we understand from farm to fork and all the pieces in between. We do understand that very well, and that's how we're really starting to aggressively put ourselves out there and attract customers that are interested in that touch, that care, that knowledge of getting their product out and delivered on time.
Because if you think about it, shippers are just like getting bombarded by like, I handle freights of all kinds. I do this, and they have never even looked into anything about what that business does. I talk to shippers quite a bit, and they'll say like, I get these phone calls, and they'll be like, it was like Ace Hardware that I talked to, and they were like, yeah, I get phone calls saying that like, hey, we can do, this reefer unit or something. They're like, other than like maybe flowers, or like, why would you even offer this to me? Like, this is not anything in my niche. So like, you need to understand who you're calling ahead of time. And I think having that honed in, this is what we're really good at, this is what we can do. And obviously you want to expand and like I said, diversify, especially the longer you guys been in business. Like it's good business to have that. But in the beginning, I think that's really key personally.
Totally true. And it's funny when we took that approach to begin with, we're still going to always have that approach now. But there's a lot of trust there, and we do a really good dedicated job for our customers. We don't really slip up on the updates and the care and the attention. we try to over communicate, even to the point where it's probably annoying. We do our best to over communicate it, issues and good things. Like you said, the shippers they're getting bombarded all day long, and the last thing they want is just like another problem. So whatever they can offload onto us, and do it sort of seamlessly, that's what we want to be there for. That's how we want to market ourselves. We've done really well continuing to get new opportunities just sort of organically without even really asking for them. We continue to prove ourselves on the business that we have, and some of it's really complicated when you get into multiple picks and multiple drops, like 2 pick, 2 drop loads, produce, waiting overnight to finish loading, delivering to some Walmarts that are in 2 separate states. We do a lot of that, and so we prove ourselves on some of the hard stuff, some of the stuff that takes a little more care and attention. And I mean, more often than not, we get the new opportunity thrown at us first. And it's kind of ours to lose at that point.
Yeah. So it's almost like the mentality. Yeah. It's almost like the mentality. Give me the hard stuff. I'll show you what I can do with that. And then that the easy stuff I can handle with with my eyes closed, because I can handle the hard stuff.
Yeah. We're getting all kinds of stuff like that now. Of course, people want you to take care of their things that are like problem children. So we're always going to get those opportunities. But now we're starting to get some pretty cool. I mean, nothing's easy. But we're starting to get some pretty cool opportunities, and not just me. We have several other guys working here now that are kind of following that same path. I mean, getting that same sort of attention. It's good.
That's awesome. So let's go back. Eddie, you mentioned earlier, like, you guys didn't want to get into a lot of debt right away, and I think that's a big mistake people make when they first get started. Is they either overstaff or they over tech. There's a lot of tech debt out there. Like I've been talking about that quite a bit here recently, because I think that people just keep buying and buying and thinking that they can solve problems with with tech, or throwing people at it. Like, I think there's a big mixture. So in the beginning, was it, I know you said there's the 3 owners and then you had the broker. Was it where you guys were all in the trenches covering freight and doing all the different things, or how did you guys manage to do that without having to throw, bodies at it?
In the really early months, the first 6, 7, 8 months was just, it was just me, like, day to day, getting all the business, booking all the freight, handling updates, processing stuff system wise, tracking, and it was 24/7. But that's what it took. I didn't hire an assistant until about December of the first year, and I think we started April that first year, so 7, 8 months in to get an assistant. One of the partners, he had another day job at the time, so in the evenings and on weekends he would process all of our system work, like accounting, payables, payroll, everything like that. Yeah. And then we did end up adding a third partner later, to get involved in, a lot of industry knowledge too. And, yeah, we ran lean at first, and then we tried to strategically grow from there.
How did you know whenever were you like pulling everything and you're like, I can't take this anymore. I'm not sleeping. I'm not doing this. I need help. Or how did you know to take it to the next step?
I don't, I've never been much of a sleeper. I do sleep. I mean, who doesn't? But I've never been much of I'm not the 8-hour guy very often. Like once a month, I'll get a big session in, like a 12-hour little mini coma. But like for the most part, I'm like a 5-hour a night guy. And I was running fine like that. But we got to the point where there were just more and more loads coming in, more weekend work, which again is good. I'll go 7 days a week if that's what it takes. And that's what it took to be small and to grow a little bit and to be able to bring on more help and more business. So, yeah, but to answer your question, it was getting really, really busy, and bringing in the system was great. Second set of eyes, on just a number of different things, even more so than just like some small, like data entry tasks, things like that. Just the second set of eyes to catch. We don't want to start making mistakes. People start thinking, customers start thinking, you can't handle what we're throwing at you. Why would we give you more? So we tried to get better with that as we started to get more business. And I think that's shown. Like our biggest accounts they've really grown since the beginning.
That's awesome. So, so people wise, we got that. So now you add an assistant. When did you add on even more? Was that further, like a couple years down the line, or?
Right around the same time, like just after that first assistant, we had another kind of friend in the business that wanted to look into leaving the brokerage they were at. So we met a couple times, over Zoom and phone calls and all that, and just kind of all got on the same page. Ended up making him an offer, and he joined us. It was towards the end of our first full year, and he's still with us. And that person, he has an assistant. We've since hired. We're up to 11 people now, if you include the marketing person, Brian, that just started for us. You've talked to him before. He just started for us a few weeks ago, and I've known him for forever. So not only was it kind of an easy hire in my eyes, because I know the work ethic and the drive, dedication to like seeing a path and seeing that through. He's employee number 11, and we have 4 brokers, few assistants, and ownership. So yeah, there's 11 of us now.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I worked for every time I go somewhere, people are like, "Well, what broker did you work for?" Thinking I worked for like a big brokerage. And I'm like, I worked for we were like, I think 15 was whenever I left, was what our number was at. And there's something about that lean, mean fight machine. Everything you have to do everything basically right. One mix up can really have a huge blow up, or like a big brokerage, they can have a load stolen and they're fine. Or we had a load stolen and it's like crippling. I think there's just another level of grind whenever you're in that lower end and then mid-level brokerage. So I love it. A little bit about tech debt. I know you guys we did a session. I know you're with Descartes or whatever. You don't have to name names for tech at all. Just basically it's talking about how you knew I needed to have this type of tech starting off. If you're getting more as you grow, what's your thought process on that and so forth?
Yeah, we tried something new. So in those of us in our company that had worked for other brokerages or other shippers, we had some systems in mind. We actually came together and decided to go a completely different route to start this thing. Like, let's try something new. And we used that for almost 3 years, and it was all right. I mean, we made it. We executed the business and things went well. But even the new brokers we brought on in the first 3 years and new assistants, we were all collectively much more familiar and wanted to go back to Descartes and use the Aljex TMS. We're all just comfortable with it and like it. I can go on and on about how much we like it, and I don't know how easy certain parts of it are for us to work with and work through. And add to that, we have MacroPoint integrated in with that, and the My Carrier portal. Those things all kind of rolled up together into one for us, and it's really effective for us. And it's easy. It's pretty easy to show new brokers, new assistants how to use it. It's not too tough to figure out.
So was it whenever you first got started, was it basically TMS, load board? Did you have the onboarding platform when you first got started, or did you add that on later?
We had the onboarding platform when we started.
Okay. And then tracking too, or did you add that on later?
We had tracking too. Yeah. So MacroPoint and My Carrier portal were both with us from day one. We just switched TMSs, and then, I mean, obviously that all rolls up under Descartes' like suite of offerings and products, and bundling that all together. And it sounds cheesy, but it all does work very well together. And I think that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, it's definitely Descartes' whole point of view anyways. Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. Yeah, I think so. What I find whenever like a new brokerage or something is starting out, they may even start out even leaner than all of that, where they'll only have load board, TMS, and maybe not even onboarding. They handle that. To me, I think you need to definitely have a vetting software in the very beginning, because one load could take you out completely if something happens. But so that's kind of what I think. And then I think kind of version 2 would be having tracking, and then kind of going forward on that. Are you guys at the point now where you feel like you could use additional tech to help you guys with your processes, or are you guys still at the point where you're running pretty mean?
Yeah, well, we're oh my gosh, you can take a look at my email on my phone and see how often I get like solicitation attempts and offerings, and most of them are things I know to look out for and stay away from, but others they're interesting to check out. So we do a demo here and there of something new out there. There's like right now we're going through some back office assistant automation type stuff where we're trying to bring on a little bit more to, as we're growing and our load count's going up, we can use help being a little more efficient on the back end of that. So we're exploring new options there too.
Yeah. And I think that's crucial. Like the funny is I feel like the accounting people and that part of it, you like shove in the corner. You're like, we'll deal with that later, but it's so important. And I know you mentioned earlier, like having the cash flow in the beginning, keeping that up to date, making sure that you're on top of your cash flow in order to grow is really the only way you can grow, because you have to have that credit scoring established, which is super hard starting off. As I'm sure you remember, that's such it's sad almost how hard it is for the new brokers, but also so many people have been burned. So how did you guys kind of keep up with your cash flow in the beginning? Was there any tips or tricks that you have that helped you be better at it?
Yeah, without trying to seem like too needy to our customers in the beginning, like we needed them a lot more than they needed us. And but again, there was already a ton of trust there and a lot of support there. So again, without trying to seem too needy, we would just ask like straight up, hey, we know again, the relationship makes us extra fortunate, but we say, hey, we know you guys are typically net 30. Can you do 6 months of net 15 for us, or net 21? That way we're getting paid. And a tip. Yes. Invoice the customer as quickly as possible to get that clock rolling. Because oftentimes carriers don't invoice for us right away. So the quicker we can get paid ahead of having to send out all of our payables, I mean, that gets us ahead of the clock on as many loads as possible. If you look at it like a load by load basis, as a whole complete picture, same thing. I mean, we want to get our money as quickly as possible from everybody. So we want good, complete files. We don't want to send out incorrect invoices because that just causes delays later. So we really urge everyone that works here at Lone Cypress, we urge them to have, yes, we want them closed quickly and ready to invoice quickly, but we want them done right first and foremost. Make sure everything's correct, then push it through to accounting, then we'll get that invoice out. But we want to do that process as quickly as we can. Start the clock on the customer to get paid, and then, you have your time, whatever your agreements are with your carriers to pay them with it. And that's how we got by. We didn't have debt from the start. We came out just blazing because we had great customer support. They paid us quickly, and they understood. They understood. Hey, we're starting a business. Let's keep them healthy so that they can keep the carrier relationships healthy and their business healthy. It all just, looking back, we were super fortunate that it went that way. I mean, there was a plan there, an idea, but having that all come through is a completely different story. Most of it went just as we planned it, and it was, man, we're lucky.
Right. That's awesome. So with carrier relationships, because you talked about how close you are with your shippers, with the carrier relationships, do you kind of have the same type of mindset like you do with carriers, or I mean, with your shippers, with your carriers? Like, is it where, I know you mentioned earlier, just treating them the way you want to be treated, like, right? Like you want to, if I call asking for an update, or like, hey, I'm getting stuck in a door, giving them as much information as fast as possible. Has that always kind of been, is it been your mentality? Do you push that onto your new people that come on, or is that part of your training? How do you implement that so that everyone kind of has that same, because I think carriers get a lot of heat. I know me as a broker, so when I was dealing with things, I was like yelling and all that stuff, like it happens, but you also got to be like, hey, these are real people too. We got to think about that. Yeah.
I mean, I think about, yes, we try to treat the carriers exactly how we want to be treated. Sure, things get tense, issues pop up that are just hard on everybody, and you still have to try your best to remain professional. Like, the occasional curse word is going to fly out, but hopefully not directed at somebody and not making it personal. I'd rather blurting one out just to the sky is one thing, but directing that negativity at somebody is a totally different story. And we really try not to do that kind of stuff. One thing a bit, I know how I am, and I know how I hope that most of our employees want to be, is responsiveness. Just have a sense of urgency. If someone's asking you a question, especially a driver, a dispatcher, someone that needs an answer so they can help make the best decision to continue like moving that load, moving that driver along, working towards getting everything picked up and back on track for on time, like answer that question or at least respond. If it's an email, at least respond and say, we're working on this. We'll get right back to you. And then actually go do that. Putting stuff off in this business just leads to nothing. You have to get answers, and you got to try.
Yeah, and then it's almost like they hold that POD on hostage. Whenever it's like you waited, 2 days to get back, or a day, or whatever, a couple hours to get back with me on this. I'm gonna hold this, hostage because of the same treatment. So I think it's big on, karma, right? Like I put in this type of work, I get this back. And then I think almost when you do have a situation where, hey, I did help you with this, I got you unloaded here, or at least I gave you these updates. Like I need the POD at this time because you're, like you said, I'm getting my invoicing to my customer quicker. That way I can pay you as soon as you invoice. Having that relationship and just that open dialogue, I think is just, a lot of people don't have that mindset. But I don't know, it's kind of a culture shift, I think, for some brokers. Unfortunately, it depends on where they came from, I think,
But that's how we know who we want to attract here. When we're looking for another broker to join our team and a new assistant, we are going to feel them out in that interview process. We've just went through it last couple of weeks. We brought on another broker who's starting with us. Today's his first day, and after doing a few of these now the last couple of years, we know exactly what we want to ask. We know the kind of person that we're looking for. It's not always about like what kind of book of business you have. Of course that helps, but how responsive are you? What kind of support do you need at night? Like one thing I didn't mention before is we do have a after hours support team. They're actually based down in Colombia. So not all of our business here needs that. But we do have an after hours support team that does track and trace for us. So for a couple customers that we have here, they need updates inputted into their customer TMS that they use. They need updates at midnight, 3 a.m. Are you on time? Are you running on time for the 4 a.m. delivery? They want all this stuff in their system. So this after hours team down in Colombia helps us with that. And any issues that they're made aware of through that process throughout the night, if something needs to be escalated, then that's when our phone will ring. And we still get to make that decision. We don't have someone that doesn't know our business making a decision for us. But for simple track and trace and a little bit of data entry into some customer portals, that works really well. So those are the kind of questions we ask of a potential new hire. Is like we want to know their sense of urgency and their like dedication to getting answers for their customers and for their carriers. And then what kind of support do they need to get through a day? Do you need a daytime assistant? Do you need nighttime coverage like what we offer? All those things kind of roll up into making sure that we're able to get answers for all sides of this thing.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing worse than like as a boss being like, I need this and I'm working at 2 a.m. and I can't get in touch with you. And unfortunately, being a broker, you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have a vacation. Sucks. That's just kind of the way that the market is. But I definitely having that after hours support. I know I would love that. We had something similar. We had an after hours number, and then they would only escalate calls to us. And then we had like the weekend or the after hours on call person that only got those escalation calls. But there was a period where before we got that and we just had the on call person and you had to do that was a nightmare. I mean, it was like, I hated my job for doing that. So I think having that added relief for your employees too will keep them there longer, retention wise, as well.
Yeah. We know how, like you just said it, this business can be 24/7. And we know that. We can't promise everyone that comes here is going to have this beautiful like work-life balance where you just sunshine and rainbows everywhere. And what can I do with all my free time? It doesn't work that way, but we really do want to offer some things that make things a little bit easier. And we feel like we're doing that. I think everyone that works here would tell you that.
Yeah.
I feel like they would. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, that's just a culture shift too. Like I think a difference between a big broker and a mid-sized small broker too. Like it depends on where you're at in your business, but there's ways to make things easier for customer or for your employees, make them want to stay there, make them want to grow, make them want to put in those extra hours and work for you without feeling like, oh my God, my job's taking up my whole life and I hate where I'm at. And then, leaving and you getting in a bind.
Yeah. That's one thing too, I'll say, like, I don't want to toot my horn too much here, but you can tell I'm going to be responsive. I'm going to care about the customer. I care about the people that work here for us, care about the carriers, care about the receivers getting their product on time, care about the shippers looking good. And like one thing that I'll tell you that makes a huge difference here, like within our team, within Lone Cypress, is if one of the brokers or assistants picks up the phone and calls me and it's 1 a.m. or 5 a.m, I'm answering it. Or I tell them all, I'm like, hey, if I don't answer the first time, call me again. That lets me know it's urgent. I'll grab it. We don't miss. We don't like to leave people hanging, even if it's someone on our team that's been doing this for 15 years.
There's always a weird oddball situation because it's so funny. I was a broker for 8 years, and like the very end of it, I had just a weird situation where a load was cross-docked and it was like almost a stolen freight. We ended up getting it back, but totally weird situation where they were manipulating where the location was. Like it was what never had seen anything fraud-wise like this. And I'd been doing this a long time. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I call my boss. She didn't know what to do. She's like, I don't know that, but we were able to work on it together. Like you said, having that phone call. No, then I'm only going to call you if it's an emergency, but I need you if I need you,
Yeah, at least in that way, you're there for each other. I mean, even if you're not getting where you want to with it, like at least you're in the weeds together.
Right.
And that's a good feeling to not feel stranded and not feel like, man, this is going to kill me.
Yeah. And even the responsiveness, like you said, just that acknowledgement. Hey, I see your email. I'm working on it. I don't have an answer. Hey, I'm swamped. I'll be right back with you. I think I am huge on this as well. That's one of my philosophies in life. If I'm messaging even my kids, hey, what are you doing tonight? They're like, hey, I'm in school. I can't talk. I mean, I know that that's a little bit more dramatic because they're not supposed to text, but really, I want a response pretty quickly. Or I'm fuming.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to make people worry or go through something alone that last little tiny bit of information could make the biggest impact, So don't leave people hanging.
I love that.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to touch on is your marketing piece. I know you said you just added that on. How did you get to the point where you're like, I need marketing. This is our philosophy on it. Because a lot of brokers never, ever have marketing and just simply work on pounding the phones and trying to get your business that way. How did you kind of get into that mindset?
Interesting way of putting it too, because an interesting question, I should say, because I don't know if we really were actively ready to pursue that. We always want to grow, but what does that really mean? And what does that really take? Just saying I want to grow doesn't mean that you're doing anything it takes to do that, So the marketing person we just hired 5 or 6 weeks ago, I've known him a long time, and we stay in touch. And he had reached out to me a few months before that and said he's interested in finding a way to work together again. We worked together before years ago and loved it. Good experience. And that's why we're friends. We went through this old crappy job in a completely different industry together. But he had some ideas for the business. He had seen our webpage and kind of seen who we are. And I talked to him a lot about the business. So, and he had also, him and his wife had started their own business. They grew it from one small day spa to several, and just kind of small team and did big things. And that's kind of what we're doing here. Small team trying to do big things. But his approach was, I want to come in here. I can help you guys maybe attract some new talent. We can make it look like, I want you guys to appear as a real company, a company aggressively trying to grow and do things the right way. Put our message out there and roll with it, right? So one of the examples he used when he was talking to me about it was, a lot of people probably call you because it's, they say, hey, call Jason. And he's like, what if the industry thought, let's call Lone Cypress? For sure, call Jason too, but viewing us as a real company with an actual brand and a name in the marketplace is something that can begin to set us apart. And you and I touched on it earlier, having a specialty, some knowledge, somewhat of be an authoritative voice Maybe not to everybody, but to people that could use the help. You know, come to us for a little bit of expertise. So he wanted to put that all together, put a big bow on it, and blast it out there. And to me and to the partners here, and even to every broker and assistant here now that's kind of buying into what this marketing person's vision is, it's all kind of tying. It's brought our team closer, and everyone's interested in making this thing go now. And that's how we got there. Mentally, that's how we got to that mindset to want to go that route. And then like financially, how we did that is yes, we've grown. Our load count's up. Margins are fair. We're not getting rich off one load, but the continuity of the business is adding up to us having a little bit of money to play with, to where would it make most sense to put some resources into. Some of it's tech, like we touched on earlier. Some of it's that after hours support. It's kind of a recent addition for us. And now marketing and we're going to IFPA down in Anaheim in a couple of weeks. We haven't really done that stuff yet. So we're starting to want to just kind of make ourselves a little bit more known and be slightly more aggressive, but kind of stick to what we're good at. Just do a little more of that.
Yeah. No, I think that's key. And like you mentioned too, even with going to conferences, not every broker can ever go to all the conferences. There's so many conferences, and it's funny because I'm in the conference circuit nonstop, and you run into the same people over and over and over again as far as customers. And I think it's interesting to think like, that is a big expense for a company, even though, it's a write-off or whatever, but it is still an expense that comes out. And I think just even just being able to network online. And I know, Brian's our marketing guy, right? Okay. Yeah. I know Brian is good about that too. Like just reaching out and like, hey, how can we network? How can we do this? Because it's a lot of it. I think a lot of brokers think we're in like a little silo, but really we're kind of all together. Each of us has our own niche. Obviously, we're not sharing customer data, but we're able to kind of give some tips and tricks just like you are right now, hopping on here. So
yeah, it's fun to do. It's fun to talk about. I mean, you've had tons of good questions. A lot of stuff I haven't actually like directly had to answer to anybody before. It's stuff I think about, but I don't say a lot of it out loud, So it's fun to chat. It's cool.
Love it. So how did Lone Cypress happen? Like, what's the meaning behind the name?
It's kind of like if you're familiar with Monterey County in California at all, there's like all the cypress trees that are around here. We're all big golfers. Most of us here in this company golf a lot, or at least grew up doing it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know, sort of a cheers to the area that this thing was born in, where we're all from, where a lot of us are from. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. I always wonder how people come up with the names, because sometimes you'll see things like, even on the carrier side, they come up with like the most random names. You're like, how did he even come up with this name? It's fun. But yeah, that's cool.
Well, we lost out on it because our email addresses are long. It's like Jason at lonecypresslogistics.com, and we really wanted to get lcl.com, but that was already taken. So we have these big old long emails now, but it makes people say our name out loud too.
Yeah. I have a customer where it's like his first name's Christopher. So instead of it being Chris, it's Christopher. And then the last part of it is super long too. And it's like the longest email known to man, I think. I think he hit the maximum characters.
It doesn't fit in a lot of text boxes online, I bet.
I'm sure. Yeah. It's funny. Well, cool. Anything else you want to chat about or bring up about your business? Or I'm kind of out of questions myself.
No, I if this is the platform to do it, I would definitely give a shout out to everyone here that's on our side that's helped make like LCL what it is. We have a tremendous team, and I would think if you were to talk to a lot of our customers, regardless of which broker on our side is working on it, they would all say they love the people that work here. Everywhere from the brokers down to the assistants, down to Nick running accounting, down to Brian customer development and customer care. I can go on with the names: Mark, Cody, Ben, Brent, everybody. Yes, it's Scott. We've had some good people. It's been really cool to see the team come together and support each other. And I think all the customers they remember the names, they remember the people, and then who they want to do business with.
Culture makes a big difference. And I think running that ship the way you've been running the ship too, it makes a difference too. Like having that, you have that mentality of, this is how I want my company's culture to be. This is how I want my people to be. This is all these things that you kind of set that forefront. And then having, at the end of the day, like you spend more time with your work buddies than you do your home, So it's like, I want to hang out with people I actually want to hang out with that I'm not going to be annoyed with in 5 minutes and won't help me do this. And I'm struggling with that. Like, I don't want work drama. I want us just to, hammer in and get stuff done and let's kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a Tuesday, a lot of us are remote. We have a Tuesday conference call over Zoom or Google Meet actually. And we all get together and see each other's faces and kind of laugh at the struggles and celebrate the wins. And everyone's together. Nobody misses it. It's really, really good. And, it can drag on, but it's because people have a lot to say. We want to talk to each other. And I think a lot of places don't have that.
Totally.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun for some customers or to be a fly on the wall in these meetings because they're hilarious, actually.
Yeah, I bet. That's awesome.
This is cool to get to talk to you too and get a chance to, again, I think so much of this stuff in my head and I get to internally tell the employees how much we appreciate them, but being able to see your face on here and seeing what you're doing every day in this business, it's cool to be able to share a few minutes with you and talk about us, but also maybe help you grow your channel a little bit and expand your presence. It's fun to be a part of. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on. And I think just what you talked about today is key for those, like I said, those starting off, you're brand new, you don't know what you're going to do, like even just the dream of what you can become. I think that's not even talked about or shared enough. People don't really say their whole story and how they got there. So I appreciate you sharing all your tips and tricks and how, and even just your mentality. Like, this was my mindset when I came here and this is what I wanted. This is what we did. This is how we did it. Sometimes you just need to kind of lay out a roadmap to help others too. So I love it. Thanks so much for coming on. You're the best.
Anytime. You too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Bye, everybody.
Tell me everything.
Tell me everything.